Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. My name is Adam Rosman. I will be your host today. Today is the 4th of September 2024. And if I check the participants list, yeah, we don't have new participants, so we can skip the introductions and then go on with the usual reminders. Please remember that the meeting is recorded. If you would like to help the project with contributions, then please check the help wanted and the good first issue labels, filter search for them on the project level, and that would be a big help for us. And you can also follow the link from this from this document, this help wanted link. If you feel that you'd like to officially acknowledge that your organization have adopted Metal3, then please don't hesitate to modify the adopters.md file and put there the information about your organization and the date of adoption and so on. That would be also a big help. If you see errors on your pull requests and you think those are not related to the actual change, then create an issue in the affected repository and link that issue to the Metal3 CI tracker project, and then the CI maintainers will be able to track it much better. And then if you are interested about anything related to the project, like incubation, compliance with best practices, statistics, deliverable artifacts, so on, please check these links below, and you will be able to find what you are looking for, including the roadmap and the incubation. I think that's all about the reminders. I think we didn't have reminders or much of any serious discussion last week, just triaging. So we can continue with the community working group updates. First one is from the Iron Scalability group and from Mohamed.
Yeah, thanks. Regarding the scalability, we have this fake IPA open PR on utility images. There were some reviews already. I addressed them, and mainly the main point was to avoid duplicating the script that runs the environment and test the scalability, and try to integrate that in the devenv. I extracted that and I opened a new PR on the devenv doing that, and even added like a new also PR to add test on top of that using the E2E. And yeah, also one of the main comments here were to either host this on these utility images or create a new repo. Yeah, that's what I want to discuss basically here from my point of view, and many of the teams here think that we don't want to rush and create a new repo and end up with a forgotten repo or a dead repo on the organization. For now, the utility images is a generic repo on the organization that hosts one of the images already, and it's still generic. There is no conflict, I mean, hosting the fake IPA here. On the opposite side, we think that having multiple images on the same repo would benefit the both tools or the both utilities in terms of maintainer that will keep the repo maintained, and also avoid duplicating the repo protections, scripts and tests, and also the forks sync that we have downstream. So we prefer to keep the PR here, merge it first here, and if we saw like this fake IPA used outside Metal3 and some necessity to have an independent repo, we can do that later in, putting that on an independent repo where would already have like some experienced people with the code and the activities to keep it maintained. And yeah, if you have any opinion or strict opinion in merging this here with the utility images, please let me know so we can have a decision by this meeting.
I probably won't gonna fight this battle to a bitter end because I don't care in the end. But I want to say that literally everything you said is provably wrong. Sorry. There's no problem in having separate repo, and it has nothing to do with our desire or not desire to maintain in long term. The concern of this code becoming abandonware and bit rotting has nothing to do with having or not having a separate repository. It's just the same in utility images and on Quay. Utility image is not a collection of generic containers, it's utility images. So small auxiliary things, not a whole Python projects. This is bad practice and we shouldn't be doing that. The ownership issue is going to be worse, not better, because they're going to share owners with minor things like keep alive-d and a large Python project, which is where you want to have at least some ironic experts on board, especially when you start updating it to match what IP does. What else did you say? Yeah, I mean, I said, if you guys insist on this, just, I'm not gonna like take any significant effort to do this, but I also want to voice my strong disagreement with this direction. And really, really is no reason. I mean, I deeply regret.
I lost you. Are you still speaking, Dimitri?
Yeah, I lost you too after the deeply regret.
And I don't want to set a precedent that utility image is just a garbage bin for everything that we don't want to maintain properly.
I missed the last part, Dimitri. If I think there were like problem with the connection.
Yeah, after the deeply regret, when you said I deeply regret, after that it was cut off. Like we didn't really hear anything.
I already regret that we have utility images at all. Because I'm afraid we now have a precedent of just dumping stuff we don't want to properly maintain there. And yeah, I don't want to become a precedent, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you that this is like not a fundamental project. It's just a testing tool that doesn't really matter where it should be hosted. The thing is, we just don't want to rush and create a new repo, then it will stay there with less activity and probably will forget about this after some time. We want to start with this repo that it's still like a good place to host this, and it has basically already some people, I think, in the owner file that can help maintaining the project and also add more activity to this repo. So that's why we would like to start with that. At the end, I think the benefit from this code is the image at the end and how it can be used, like where and how we can integrate this with the environment, basically with the sushi tools, fake system, and how we can write things on top of that to test like thousands of nodes. But I think that the people that can benefit from this outside Metal3, the image would be enough that can be hosted somewhere, I mean on QI or someplace.
It has little to do with people outside of Metal3. It has a lot to do with how we do things and just proper engineering and separation of concerns, you keep implying that creating repository is a difficult task, which is not, unless there is something on the Jenkins/infra side that actually prevents you from easily adding new repos. Then please explain. I can take this as an argument, but no, it's not hard. It's not a sign of maturity. It's just 2 clicks in GitHub UI, really. And that's it.
I didn't say it's a hard task. I said more, I don't want like a dead repository on the organization. Like we have some repositories that we don't maintain, like it's like with less activity. One of them is this utility image and the ironic client, for example, and adding more repos like this, I don't think it benefits the organization. That's my issue. It's not like the difficulty on creating a new repo.
Why? Why do you not think that?
I mean, what can you repeat the question?
You said it's not going to benefit the organization. I'm interested for your reasoning behind the statement.
We try like to keep our repos how to say, confirmed with the standards of the CNCF and so on, and we use like to go through the repos and add some files and maintain them and keep them like with the standards of the organization or the CNCF rules. And we used like to have many small repos on the organization that would be like just an extra effort to maintain them.
So it is hard, as you say, because of CNCF rules, or?
Yeah, having multiple small repos with less activity, it's not a good thing. That's what I'm saying. It's not like the creation or adding a new repo.
Did you link me to CNCF statement on this? Because I mean, I believe you, but that sounds like the opposite of what containers are about, like small reusable bits. And I'm really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, just to chime in here, I think good document here is the requirements of the incubation, and that details what you need for the project in general, and then we track it with Claw Monitor and such. So if you maybe the Claw Monitor standards are a good like approximation of what each repo has to have and so on. Especially if it's a code repo. If it's a docs repo, not that strict, but if it's a code repo, then quite a lot of things have to be ticked, the boxes. Yeah, it's just a comment, like what documents you guys can refer to.
So they actually discourage, okay, well, that's funny.
I mean, I don't think they intentionally discourage, they just have a billion requirements on what things should be there if you do code. Not a billion, but quite a lot, a few dozen.
Yeah, but if they have requirements for the code, they don't just stop applying because we move the code in a subdirectory, right? We're just basically lying to them.
No, I think what the guys like what I understand the reasoning of Mohammed and the folks is that they don't want to do it at once. They first want to introduce it in the utility, and if it grows and attracts contributors, then they see the reason to then move it out and then make it aligned as a standalone repo with all the CNCF requirements. That's how I understand it. So it's not a not doing it, it's a life cycle thing. From my perspective, that's how I understand.
So I don't quite like the first part. First, nothing is more permanent than temporary things. Nobody, if it actually becomes success, nobody's going to move it around. It's going to be a huge pain from the CI perspective and other stuff. You're going to have dev scripts patch that is cloning utility images, and now you're going to dev scripts. So the Metal3 defense, I'm using OpenShift, Metal3 defense now are broken because you moved the repo around. That's actually an argument against putting it on a utility image, to be honest. If we expect that to we expect that we might need it properly, then we should do it properly. It's also kind of not an aspect of yet, ignoring CNCF requirements for a second. There's no life cycle that says we first create it in a directory and move it to a repo. It's a general GitHub workflow, Git workflow is a create a repo whenever you need it. Now, CNCF requirements, I understand that. I'm just worried if they have requirements around code deliverables. The fact that we hide this deliverable inside an innocently looking repo doesn't really relieve us from following the requirements. And even going to publish container image, and people might find this code. It's just like, okay, they're not gonna hunt us and notice it, but it's like, are we behaving like good citizens by doing this?
How many
Just-
of these are related to deliverable and how many are related to the repo itself? I'm not sure, but yeah, I understand your reasoning too. Like I see here in both sides, like have points that I can understand. I won't make here the final decision. I'm just saying that these are the considerations. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Is there? Yeah. Yeah. Go on. By the way.
I finished really. I just wanted you guys to reflect on this topic and take this perspective. As I said, I'm not gonna go into huge lengths to block this from merging into utility images. Have better things to do, and it's not critical. It's just I'm more worried about the precedent rather than this particular instance. Although I actually think we are setting up ourselves for future troubles by doing this.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should listen from others as well, but I would also add that we have this fake IPA and other tools that also help with scalability, like we are trying to kind of build on top of the in-memory work of copy for testing more like the Kits API and so on, like faking that and also testing the scalability. Those things probably can also be hosted in one independent repository. We still are in early stage with that. The other side, probably we need to think about that before creating a repo for all this work. So I'm just saying, like, let's merge this and start building the image, hosting it somewhere, and build like the tests that show how how can we scale Ironic and the other layers on top of Ironic. Then if we saw a need and there were like good progress and activity on that, we can go for independent repo for that.
I think this is a good point to ask. That is there anyone with questions or opinions, like some others, to join in the discussion?
Just a question. Can we so since the concern of the repo being abandoned later on, like which has happened for some previous repositories, so is what's the issue there? Like just trying to understand that. Can we not archive repos which are no longer under use because maybe the features are not as important, so nobody is kind of contributing to them, for example?
No, it's not really, as far as I understand, but later others just correct me if I'm wrong. If I understand, here the issue is not that there are any technical problems. Everything can be done, and it's, as Dimitri said, like GitHub gives a great framework to do many of these things. Thing is that the goal, the eventual goal would be that all the repositories hosted under the project are aligned with the like all the CNCF requirements, and they have a good traffic. So that's why if you probably seen in the past there were repos archived and emails going about them, and archiving them because technically if we take and apply the CNCF requirements to all the repos individually, does to the whole project, then we are good citizens, or we are kind of quote unquote successful if we have a nice and like nice or not nice, but like a certain level of ongoing contribution everywhere and so on. So that's what basically going on, is that the project has to look also like active, and every repo active, and it's like kind of looks bad if half of it is active, good, nice, and then the other half is just these things that are not getting released, not having activity and so on. So that's where it comes from. It's marketing is a bad word, but according to the CNCF docs, healthy project is a project where stuff is active, and if not active, it's not healthy. So it's just that.
Yeah, please go. Adam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're saying like it's just that, like, please finish.
Yeah. What point? Where was I when you didn't hear? I might have been also cut off.
Okay, yeah, you're saying like it's just that, and then I didn't hear after that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's just that according to the CNCF guidelines, a healthy project is the one where, or like the project in general has a good activity, and then if you look it on a repo by repo basis, that means that the repos have good activity. So that's why like inactive repos look bad, and that's why we archive them. Other than that, if it's archived, then we won't do CI for them. But these two things is that then the CI workload has to be, or the work we do for the CI, it has to worth the effort, and it worth the effort if we have an active repo. So it's just that it's not really no any technical difficulty. Like everything can be done. It's just that, as far as I understand, folks are concerned that if this won't catch on, if people won't be interested, then they did a lot of work for no actual benefit, and it
Okay.
also
So,
looks bad. Yeah.
okay, so if I understand correctly, so mainly two things. Like one is like to like it has to look active according to CNCF, like guidelines, or like basically criteria that for a project, healthy project, so repos have to be active. And the second one is basically like to keep it active, as well as there is also the CI overhead that we have to include this in the CI workflow as well, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so in that case, like just a quick another question. So basically, what if we keep the repo like outside the organization until we kind of are sure that it is kind of going to be a, like what are the issues with that that could come up like this? Just wanted to understand.
Sorry, I didn't hear all of it. So where do we keep it? So what is the problem if we keep the repo?
Outside the organization, because that's where like we like the organization basically the will be what's under the CNCF preview, right?
Yes.
Purview basically.
Yep. Then Mohammed, others, what's your opinion
Yeah.
about this? I think this was considered, but please go on.
I don't see any better place to host the fake HIPAA for now other than this utility image, since it's already one of the less active repos on our organization. So having the fake HIPAA there and will help revive the project, let's say, and it also would have like the same process for building the image for what we have on this repo. And even if the fake HIPAA at some point is dead or failed or something like that, the repo will continue. And yeah, it's I think the best place for now to start with that. And there's no thing I guess blocking us from doing that, like merging the fake IPA in that repo. And what we need now is just an image from this code that can be hosted somewhere, and the building process. So we have already like other tools on this repo that are built and hosted on the QI, I guess. So having them in the same place, I think would be a good reason for hosting the fake IPA there. And also, yeah, if we wanted to at some point move this to independent repo, we can do it with the other coming tools, as I said, like for this in memory and fake API and stuffs like that.
Sorry. Yeah, so basically, as I understand, like that the current utility images repo is already kind of on the inactive side, and this will somehow, like, to some extent, help revive that, as well as, I mean, and of course, like if it's kind of, we find that it needs a separate repo its own, then later on we will do that. So basically, instead of archiving this repo, like we are basically using it in that way, basically. And it's, since it's already part of the CI workflow, I guess, so we don't need to work extra on that. And versus like hosting it outside, like just like pros and cons, like I just wanted to understand like the motivation. Like, since you mentioned like you just need the image, right? So posted somewhere. So is
Yeah.
it like the primary, was it that the utility image is kept, sorry, repo is kept alive, or like that was the deciding kind of, instead of keeping it outside, like?
Yeah, I can give a bit of context also to this repo. So this repo was originally created, like originally we didn't plan to create it. After some discussions, um, because originally I believe we wanted to put the Pixie Builder into the ironic image. Then we wanted to put it into its own repo, but then came to the conclusion that we might, because there is continuous research going on, there might be this sort of projects where the result is just a container. And then let's have a repo where we put these, we call them utilities, and then um, they would be just a container, and then this repo would build all these containers that are only in these subdirectories, and that CI workflow nicely fits into what we need right now for that, and that fake IPA. And plus, what Mohamed said, it would increase the activity, so this repo would look better, because we kind of need it, because as Mohamed mentioned, there are upcoming stuff that will have the similar profile, like a single container for some sort of experimental slash development slash testing purposes that anyone can use, but they are not big enough. Now, this is, as Dimitri said, it's a bit big. So it's not really a small utility, but then it's still a test utility. So yeah, but yeah, that's how I see it. Again, I am fine either way, but I'm just saying that what was here the thinking, and you understand correctly these three things, that reviving this repo, reusing the CI of this repo, and then seeing, like, testing out that will this be big enough to have its own project or not. So yeah, I think you understand it correctly. Yeah, anyone else? Anyone who would like to mention something related to this? Then yeah, go on. I heard some noise.
Yeah, I just wanted to, not sure if the steps that I suggested that we host this for now on the utility images, we build the image and we start using that, basically running the test and showing how scalable we can go and how this can benefit like the tests either in the E2E test or CI. Then if we saw that is really beneficial for Metal3, for Ironic, and for others, then we can easily go to an independent repo. I just want to hear from Dimitri like the final thought about this, or he still thinks that we should start on an independent repo.
I'm basically on the same opinion, yes. I actually do not doubt that if we invent a framework for scale testing Ironic, it will be a huge benefit for everyone, and we can publish results and start talking to Ironic people about them. I don't think there is any argument that if we succeed in providing a useful scale testing framework, people will get excited. I think it's a wrong decision. I'll leave it up to you. I'm not going to block it, as I said.
Yeah, I would offer to have a voting, but in the past this didn't really attract much attention, this voting, so I won't really push for voting. I'm also like, I won't like say or take a position on this. I'm fine either way.
Yeah, probably I just want also to mention that this is coming from the Sushi Tools repo. It was there for quite a long time, and we end up closing the PR there and coming to Metal3. I don't want to close this again and go for independent repo. I want to host this and start using it. If I saw any progress with that, so I can easily create a repo and have this on independent repo. Let's go with that for now, if there is like no anyone against that.
Yeah, so far we haven't heard anyone who would be willing to block it from maintainers. Yeah, okay. So
yeah, let's move forward with that.
Yeah, agree. So it has been decided. Then the next one is from Dimitri. Yeah, still waiting for feedback for the standalone operator design.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. There have been some useful feedback, but rather minor. We're talking about naming. I haven't addressed it yet. I will. I would like to hear more about the architecture itself, what people think. Even if we are only talking about MVP, so it's definitely not the final form. It doesn't incorporate, for example, the removal of host networking. I'm doing it on purpose. If we start discussing that, we're never going to finish. And yet I'm interested in what people say about this. And yeah, it's a bit awkward because we already have the repo and most of functionality, but still, I think it's useful to seek consensus on where we want to move with that. And this is also a pretty useful document because it's basically a thought dump of what was going on in my head when I was writing it, which I guess people will appreciate, if anything, for historical references.
Yep, thanks. Yeah, I think it's very, very useful to have this in any case. And thanks for writing it. I think as many people as possible should read it, but I'm also among those who should read it, and I don't really have much time. But how long are you willing to wait for feedback on this, Dimitri?
Well, as long as it gets, keeping in mind that Ironic standalone operator is already a thing and people contribute to that. So if somebody comes and says, okay, that's a stupid idea, let's not do it, it's a bit too late. If somebody says we need to change the architecture completely, and maybe too late in a few months.
Yeah.
So depending on how much impact you want to have this.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Makes sense. Okay, so folks, please read it. Is there anything else you would like to add to this, Dimitri?
No, I was unfortunately dragged into something very important at work downstream, so I couldn't put more thoughts and iron external on operator as other concerns.
Yeah, that's understandable. Okay. Is there any comments from anyone else related to these questions? Something you don't understand from the write-up, maybe? Okay. If nothing, then next one is just a bit of release team update. And who would like to pick the release team up? Maybe Tuomo, or I don't know. No, if no one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I mean, basically, we haven't yet announced those, except Dimitri announced the ironic image already, and I announced the BMO once because they had a security advisory, but we have also the IPAM and CAPM3 now cut. Probably we will announce them tomorrow. And I think we will be making some ironic image releases tomorrow. Or do you think the patches will land by tomorrow, Dimitri?
Possible, but not guaranteed.
Okay. Well, we'll cut them whenever they're available. The branches exist, so we have no issues. We just need to retag and announce. So, yeah.
Right. We have, everything is ready, but we are facing some CI issues, last-minute CI issues on ironic, because of course we do. I'll keep you informed.
Yep, that's great. But that's all about the releases for now. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Sounds good. And then next one is from roadmap editors. If there are no other questions, there will be new milestones for new versions, and there is an issue with the BMO milestone version also that we have to fix. But yeah, I won't promise when I will or others will have time to do the milestones. It's a bit busy right now, but anyways, they will come. Yeah, I don't think we have any discussion topics. Let me see who is here, and maybe I have a question. Question: if you can talk, have you heard anything about incubation?
Oh, no update. We are on the first in the queue. I actually think the people there to ask because there is none assigned so far. So let's see. I'll keep you posted once I know more.
Yeah, thanks. I wasn't up to date. I just honestly didn't know where we are in the queue, so that's why I'm asking. Thanks. Okay. Anyone else? Any other comments, improvements, suggestions, question? If not, then thank you for the discussions and your time. And we don't have triaging today, so we will have triaging next week. And until then, have a nice week and see you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.